Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to be just waiting a little bit to see who else is going to join us before we jump into the training. I see some familiar faces, so thank you for coming back. Hi, Banu. It's good to see you.
Good evening. How are you, Justina?
I am good. I hope you've all had a great day. Okay, we still have people coming in, so I want to just give them a moment to join us. Okay, it's slowed down a bit. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for spending your evening with us here to learn a little bit about contacting your representatives. Of course, we do this through the ECE Voices Network, and which is made possible by the grant that we received from the Practitioners Voice of California. So we're really happy that you chose to have a busy day and still come on with us. Of course, this is going to be recorded, so you can feel free to share it and check it out later also. We'll send a follow-up email after the training, giving you all the information that you need and resources as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First, my name is Justina Erpelding. So if you haven't joined us before, I work here at Every Child California. I am the advocacy organizer, and I'm here tonight with Heidi. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Heidi Kaiser. I'm the Public Policy Officer for Child Action, and I'm one of the leads for Region 3, which is Sacramento County and some of the other close surrounding counties. So I'm really excited to be presenting on this webinar with Justina.
Hey, so first, I just want to go over the agenda of what you can expect for this evening. We're going to start off by first talking about what your experience is with contacting legislators. I want to make sure that I meet you where you're at and we discuss,
just checking out.
we discuss issues that are important to you.
Local.
Just 1 second. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to find your representatives, and I have some screenshots of that, but we can go out live time and look at that webpage as well. We're going to cover the topic of how to write a letter and go into some detail on that, and when and how to call a legislator and why legislative staff are so important. Also about learning the issues and solutions and how to email your legislators. Feel free at any time during this training to raise your hand and ask questions. We're a pretty laid back group here, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Don't feel like you're interrupting us. Okay. So first, we would like to hear from you. And if you feel more comfortable talking in the chat, please feel free to put your information in there. And I would like to know what got you interested in this training in particular. If anyone wants to share. Not seeing anything. Does anyone want to share what you're hoping to learn from this?
I'll go ahead and speak.
Yeah.
I've actually gone to the Capitol a couple of times with Parent Voices and with ACE to talk to representatives, but I always feel like you always need to be refreshed on how to do it, how to contact them. So it's kind of a refresher for me to just know the steps of how to do it, and I'm excited about going tomorrow too.
Yes, I recognize your name. We're excited to have you here. We're going to keep you very busy tomorrow. And then Banu.
Hello, everyone. So good to be here. I think I met Justina at the DVC conference at our local college, and also I talked to you. I have done a lot of advocacy with our group here. I'll put our group in the chat if you would like, and I'll be there tomorrow as well. I have done, been to lot of times to state capital with union, with parent voices, and also been to DC. I'm also been to New Mexico. I was part of the grassroots assembly, so lots of advocacy. And I think we all need to advocate together so our voices can be heard, because as we all know, the childcare is essential. We are essential. We're the workforce behind the workforce. And here, we're not just advocating for ourselves, we're advocating for parents as well, as the childcare is the second largest bill on them. And on the other hand, we as an educator need to make livable wages. So thank you so much. And I want to learn more. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we have some answers in the chat. We need to have advocacy presence, and this training came along at just the right time. I spoke to reps in the past in DC, but was very unsure and didn't know what to do. So we'll cover some of this, and we have more trainings coming up that covers more specific advocacy as well. So you might want to jump on those. And then it says, I signed up for all the trainings because I would really like to be an informed and active advocate. That's wonderful. And hello, everyone, hoping to pass this information on to parents, write letters to representatives. That's great. It says, hi, my name is Heather, and I am here because of my role as co-executive director. I need to reach out to, lost it here. Hold on. My chat just switched up. They need to reach out to our government officials in Santa Cruz and advocate for Santa Cruz Toddler Care Center and funding in our field. And Heather, we have a group in your area that's led by Jessica Kranz, and she is going to have a meet and greet with legislators in Salinas, but we also are going to set one up sometime this year in Santa Cruz so that we can get people like John Laird there. But I know that tomorrow at Advocacy Day, John Laird is on the schedule to be talked to, and he's your representative in your area. And then, yes, these are all great, all great. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll definitely try to answer your questions. And so I think we're just going to jump right in here. Close this out. And the first thing that we're going to go over is how to find your representatives, because you can't contact them unless you know how to reach them. So there is a website out there where you put in your address. So you would put in the address to, hold on one second. You would put in the address to where you want to meet your representative. So if that's your home address or if it's your work address, you would need to put those different ones in there to get the correct representatives for that area. Remember, when you're reaching out to them, your vote does matter to them. They really do care about their constituents. They care about their community. They will ask you if you're a constituent, so you want to just offer that information to them, because they're more likely to receive your feedback knowing that they're talking to someone in their community that they represent. So we're going to go to the next page that shows you what it looks like if you go out to this website. And I want to show you real time here as well. But when you go out to the website, this is the first page you see. It's going to ask you, and you have to put in a street address, a city, and a zip. You have to have all three in there for it to work. I put my address in there, and you can see that my representatives for California are Kevin McCarty in my district and Angelique Ashby. So from there, these are actually clickable links that take you to their web page so that I could read about them and learn about them. So I'm going to switch over to sharing my desktop. And Jenny, can you tell me, can you see this? Or should I share it differently?
I think we're still on your PowerPoint, Justina.
Okay, so let me go to share. Stop share. Take me 1 second. And I'm going to share my desktop with you guys. Okay. You see this Find Your Representative screen? So this is what it looks like. I'm going to put it in here live time because I want you guys to see what actually happens when you put it in. So these are clickable links. When you click it, you're going to be able to see your representative's webpage. On that webpage, it's super useful because you're going to be able to contact them directly from here to send a message. You can see what district, what total district they work in, but you can also see what committees your representative works on. And it's really important to learn what committees they're on, because if you start researching bills and you realize that that bill is going to go through a committee that your representative's on, then you can talk to them about that. It's really important to have that information handy. So Kevin McCarty chairs public safety. He's on budget. Budget's really important. He's in education and health. Those are two of the main committees that our bills go through. And he's on subcommittee number 3 on education finance. That's huge. That means he has a say in what money goes through to childcare programs. So talking to him would be the right person to talk to about ECE issues and funding. So as you can see, it's super important to go to their page and learn about them. So I just have a screenshot here with a big arrow saying you can contact them there. On their webpage, you are able to see their biography, so you can learn a little bit about them, because I think it's nice to read about your representative and get to know who they are, because they become real people to you and not just someone who sets up laws. They'll tell you all about their family and what their interests are. And it's nice to have that personal touch. And like I just showed you, it's going to show you what committee assignments. And if you've been on our previous trainings, you'll know that those committee assignments are important to know, like I said, because your bill might be going through that committee. And now you have a personal connection to someone who sits on that committee. You can see what sort of legislation they've authored in the past. And what's really nice is seeing what their upcoming events are, so that you can attend them and get to know them at their events. You can read their news articles if you want to, but I think it's a really great idea to sign up for their updates, because then it goes right to your email and you don't have to go to their website to figure out what they're up to. They'll send you updates for your community and things that they're working on. And then a lot of them have now switched to meeting requests going through their website. Not all of them have it, but a lot of them do. If they don't have it, then it's something that we can touch base on later in this training when you call to set up a meeting. But a lot of them, even if you were to call or email them directly, will send you a link to their meeting request form. So contact information that's easily found is their email through the form. And what I mean by that is when you go out and you push the contact me portion of their website, it's going to open up a form for you to fill out and contact through there, but you're not going to see what their actual email address is. It's really easy to find the meeting request form on their website, where to send a letter to the Capitol office. They put their Capitol office address everywhere. They put their district office address everywhere. But what they don't do is put their actual email address that goes directly to them out there to the public. It can be very difficult to find. So I wanted to give you this information that you see here, where it says assembly member emails are always their first dot last name at asm.ca.gov. It's the same for senators, except for ASM, it's SEN. If you know that, that means that you can email your assembly members and your senators, and you don't have to drive yourself crazy trying to find it on the Senate website, the Assembly website, and their personal website, because they can be really hard to find. I put a couple more web addresses there for you guys to check out, and this will be available on our resources page so that you can have access to that later. So at this point, we're going to switch over to writing a letter, and I'm going to first ask, do you have any questions about the information? Do you want me to go over anything else that we just went over about how to find your representative and their contact information? Okay, then I'm going to pass this over to Heidi so she can go over the letter writing process with you.
Great, thanks, Justina. So you've completed your research, you found out who your representative, you have their contact information, and you know a little bit about them. That's really helpful when you're getting ready to write the letter. In fact, knowing a little bit about the legislator and their interests and then their background before they were a legislator often can help you kind of tailor your letter towards their needs and the issues that they really care about. For example, say your legislator was previously a small business owner, that some of the small business issues associated with early care and education can really resonate with them. So you're preparing your letter, so you're figuring out what's the issue. So I think we're all like pretty aware of what the big ECE issues are. So you know, say it's on reimbursement rates, you're going to write a letter of support to ensure that a rate is accurate and fully representing what the true cost of care is. So now you're like deciding what do I put in to support that, to provide proof. You as an ECE teacher, you can share your experience, you can share some of the issues that you are specifically facing that require the cost of care and the increases to the reimbursement rate to be made. So when you're writing your letter, if you're part of an entity, you can place the letter on your letterhead. You include the date, you address it to the legislator, and you include the committee, or if you're sending it directly to a legislator, then you omit that piece. And you add specifically what topic you're sharing about. So as we mentioned, I think in previous sessions, if you're not part of an entity, that doesn't mean you can't write letter of support, but it just looks a little different. You know, you share your name, you share your district, and you're able to then just explain the exact same information, you know, why you're in support of that particular legislation. Great, so this is like a sample support letter that Every Child California came up with. Kind of gives you a little bit of shows you exactly the kind of format that they're looking for with those support letters. So you have your name and your organization, if you're part of an organization, or like I mentioned before, if it's just on your behalf, it'll just include your name. And then you really like introduce what your agency does, what your organization, how you support early care and education, or how you as an ECE teacher, provider, support children and families. And you make it very clear that you're in their constituency. So making sure that they're aware that you're in their specific district, because it's really important for them to hear from people who they represent themselves. So hearing exactly from you as a constituent, that just makes even more of a greater impact. So it's just really important to make sure that you're addressing the letter properly. So, you know, making sure that you're using the legislator's full name, the spelling and the title, just things like that. You know, it shows that you've taken that time to research and that you've taken that time and effort to make sure that you have the full information. And it says, you know, you can check the legislator's office or call them to find out the information. You can also reach out to ECE Voices if it's something that you need help with as well. Make sure you're always including your last name and your address so that you can have a response. So that in some situations you may receive some information from the legislator, and then you're able to actually get that back from them, which is really nice. And it's really important to use your own words. So legislators receive template emails and letters all the time. So having an actual thoughtful letter with factual pieces about how this impacts you directly, it really resonates with the legislator. It really gives them a picture of who is being impacted by this. It's certainly more personal, and it definitely makes more of an impact. And just to let you know that this specific information we took from Bonta's office. So there's a link to that if you want to look at that for more information. It's specifically around making your voice heard. So I'm sure we're going to include that in the materials after we finish this session.
I can definitely include that. I want to piggyback on what Heidi was just saying because I was at an event where Senator Cortese was at, and he called them like race car letters, where you get all of the same letters with. He said it's like a race car where it has logo stickers all over the back of it, and when it drives by, all you see is the logos. And he said we get all these letters, like hundreds of letters of these form letters, kind of like what you just saw. Our example is a letter that we sent in that, you know, all the sister organizations use, right? And they all say basically the same thing, except you change the top of it of who it's from and where you work. And he was saying it is so much more impactful. Of course, it gets counted, but he was like, even if you just say, pass this darn bill, you know, and I thought that was really funny, but he was like, I just want it doesn't need to be long. I just want it to like, I want to hear your passion about it. So I don't think you need to worry so much about making it this long letter and going into all these details. Just share your story, which you all are really good at doing, and you have such great stories of, you know, what's happening on a daily basis that you can share with them. So I wanted to share that with you, and then we'll go on to the next page.
Great. The timing of the arrival of your letter is really important. So making sure that when a specific committee is dealing with the bill, they actually receive that letter in advance. This ensures that the legislator can actually make a determination on the bill so that they have all the full facts and so that they can actually take an action on the bill. Make sure you're clear about the topic. So having, you know, the bill information, the number, what the issue is, the author, that's really helpful so they know exactly what bill you're on about. And just, yeah, as Justina mentioned, being brief and constructive. If you disagree with the bill, just make it very clear and to the point, pithy. And that's where it's super impactful for the legislator to hear from you. And yeah, providing those concrete pieces on why you disagree with the bill or why you agree with the bill is just really helpful for that legislator. So they could potentially share your story or your anecdote as to why this bill should be supported or rejected.
And we should probably clarify that when we're talking about writing these letters and talking about bills, this is separate from sending in support letters through the support letter portal that you have specifically for a piece of legislation that's being heard in committee. This is you as an advocate saying, this is how I feel. I want to introduce myself to you. These are topics that are really important to me. So it's outside of that portal. Anytime that you want to be officially noted on a bill, you'll have to go through the portal. We do have a training that I can send a link out to you of Legislation 101 that explains in detail how to set up an account for that portal and how to submit letters. Your letter will look the same as this, so it's just kind of nice to have across the board. And Jenny is putting in the chat lots of links for you guys. So there is a support letter template that she put in there and some other information that would be helpful. Okay.
Yeah, and this information specifically for situations of emailing. So when you're also emailing your representative, make sure that you include their staff, specifically if you've met with legislative staff, like for the Advocacy Day tomorrow, get their contact information. So when you're following up, you can include them. They're really the ones who are going to be chatting with the legislator and helping them formulate ideas and helping them really know how to vote specific ways. They're the ones usually with the subject matter expertise. So it's really, really helpful to make sure that you're including them on the email. And the benefit of email is it's so much quicker for you and you get a response faster, but also don't feel like dismayed if you don't receive a response either. They receive so much correspondence, but most staff do spend time reading all of the information. They just may not always send you a response. And as Justina just mentioned, this is separate from those support letters that we discussed through the portal. So this is just specifically emailing your legislator.
Mhm. And it's good to know that when you email the legislator, they have staff that works on specific issues. So for our field for ECE issues, they're going to have a staff member that deals with early childhood. The letter will go to them, and the staffers are required to write up a report on any correspondence that they receive from a constituent, and then that gets presented to your representative. So know that there's kind of just a way that it all works through the system, where you're probably not going to have that letter right in front of your representative unless you set up an in-person meeting directly with them. But it is just as important working through a staffer as it is with the member, because they're all dedicated to making sure that your voice is heard. So we're going to switch a little bit over to making phone calls. So, you have to really ask yourself, what is the goal of calling your representative? Are you hoping to reach them? Because that's probably not going to happen. But when you call, you could ask for someone like the staffer that works in the ECE for the ECE topics. They may or may not be available. You might just have to leave a message. And that's why I think I spend a lot of time in email with staffers to set up meetings and so on. And we use support letters going through the portal and so on. I would say that the phone calls are more of an advocacy campaign effort, that a lot of times what you'll see is, let's say the budget's going through, especially last year when we were all fighting for the rate changes and the family fees to be lowered. And we knew that it was this huge sticking point and we wanted to get it pushed through the budget, and it was sitting on the governor's desk. And so we had a call to action to everybody call the governor, right? Because what it is it's an attention effort. We want him to go, oh wow, everyone is invested in this, and I better come through. And it can be that way for a bill that maybe your representative is authoring, or is, I don't know, you find their position that maybe they're against it. But a lot of times the calling is for a specific reason like that. But if you're calling to say, hey, I just want to put on record that I support a bill, you need to make sure that you're still sending in a support letter on top of that. It's fine to call and maybe set up an appointment to discuss that bill and discuss your agency with them. You'll probably do it on a later date. It'll probably be with a staffer. Never feel bummed out that you're talking to a staffer. Like I said, staff is so important. They write up the reports of everything you've said and they give it to the representative. So I guess calling, in my opinion, and Heidi, you feel free to jump in here on this, is for urgent issues mostly, unless you're calling to set up an appointment to talk about something more in depth later.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only other reason I've ever maybe called is if I've sent a request for meeting and haven't heard back.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just to give like a gentle reminder that I've sent this request, and if someone could follow up with me soon.
Yeah, and I just want to throw that out there because you want to have your expectations set right when you call in. You should probably, especially during the legislative session, like right now, they're right back in session, so they're super busy. It's going to be harder to reach someone to talk at that moment. Okay, so just some etiquette reminder. When you call, just remember there's a real person on the other end of the phone. So I know some of these issues get very, passionate, and sometimes our passion can come through in a bit of a negative way. And so I always tell people, just take a moment and think through it, because they want to help you. They're there for you. And they just want to be talked to respectfully. And sometimes we can be really intense when it's, especially, when it's about pay and family and things like that. When you call these offices, always introduce yourself and tell them that you're a constituent, and you'll know if you're a constituent if you use the how to find your representative in California. That really does make a difference. Even when you fill out the contact me form, it's required to put your address in there. And if it's not within their district, it won't let you submit like a request for them to meet with you. They want to make sure that they're meeting with people from their community. And then just like the letters and just like the emails, you're going to tell them the topic. And like I said, they have the staff that are responsible for the different topics. So you want to make sure that you're talking to the right person, because otherwise you're going to waste your time talking to someone who's not going to deal in that area. Expect to talk to staff, and always remember that's just as important. We tell you to try to stick to one issue only because they are so short on time that if you're expecting to go over multiple things on one phone call, it just might not happen. And, you might feel a little slighted with that. So just go on knowing that you'll probably stick to one issue. And then be brief and concise, especially if you're not setting up a phone call for later where you'll need to set up like a time frame with them. They're usually very upfront, like I have 20 minutes available to talk to you about this. And then you can prepare what you can fit in that 20 minutes. Always thank them. And then what I try to do is just follow up through email, thank you for speaking with me. And, here's all my contact information. It's so important to remember to provide them with your contact information so that they can reach back out to you if they have questions about that specific issue, because now you've become their source of information. Does anyone have any questions about this information that we've gone over so far? Okay. Oops, skipping forward. Okay. Legislative staff. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but it's so important to know that they're important because they're the ones that communicate mostly with their community. So when we have these meet and greets all over California, it's typically mostly staff that come to these, that write up the reports and give it to them. Very rarely is a member actually available to come join us at these meetings in their communities. They write a report for each call and letter and meeting, just like I said before. So all your information goes to them. They're the personal connection to their communities. They manage the members' schedules, and they give them lots of advice and counsel. So it's good to have those connections. And it's also good to know that the staffers sometimes are there long after the legislator has left their position. And so then you've made a contact. That's good to have. So that's my 2 cents about legislative staff. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, then I'm going to pass it over to Heidi so we can go over some of this information that we talked about.
Yeah, great. So we've shown you how to find your legislator. You have that link in the chat so you can put in your address and find out who represents you, and that'll give you all their contact information. You have the format of their email address, which Justina shared on the slides, which is going to be, the slides will also be shared out after this session. And I think they were also included in the chat. So that will give you information on that. You have, the format around structuring a letter, what information needs to be included on that, and then how and why you would call in very, very limited situations, and why those representative staff are really important. Feel like we did a pretty comprehensive overview of those pieces, but if anyone has any questions or wants to discuss any of those pieces, feel free to unmute or add it in the chat.
Yeah, we have some time left. I would love to have like an organic conversation about how you're feeling after this training. Do you feel like it makes more sense of what the letters are for and how you would send them, and the difference between sending a letter to introduce yourself and about your program versus supporting a bill, going through the portal, reasons why you would call or email? And I have to say that email is my favorite because they're pretty quick at getting back to you. And I think that, they're able to check it when they have the time to give you a good response as well. And when I say email, you can email your staffer, like you can email your representative. It might get sent to a staffer that will respond to you. And you'll probably learn over time who the staffers are and start talking directly with them.
Hi, my name is Andrea. I have a question.
Yeah. Hi.
This was really useful information. I do appreciate it. But I have a question because I know that there's a fine line depending the job we do between advocating or advocacy and educating.
Mhm.
So could we use these letters possibly to educate, especially when we're working on our countywide program? We want to educate our legislators and our county officials to be able to push our initiative forward. But would these letters kind of fall under the same format to educate them or to meet with them just so they know what we're doing?
I'm gonna let Heidi take this one because I think you're in
Yeah,
this
I feel
position.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right. These letters, these emails are great opportunities to educate and to share your story, share important information. Just link into even research or national studies that you've seen that shows the importance of certain things within early care and education. I know for myself in Sacramento County, a lot of the information that we get at the state level, that we get from ECE Voices can be molded and used for reaching out to your county leadership and your county board of supervisors. So I think, yeah, it's really easy to kind of use this as for those same purposes as well. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it does. I appreciate it. Yeah, because it's just a rock I ran into, and this is my first time doing this kind of work. And so I guess I got to be very clear in in what perspective I come in approaching and meeting legislators and really pushing this initiative. So I just got to make sure that I educate. But yeah, I really like this information and I do appreciate it.
I think it's super helpful. And Andrea, have you been to our meet and greet? I feel like
I met you, Justina, at
Uh-huh.
the San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
Back-
Oh, that was a
back-
really good one. So I was
Yes,
just
back
gonna
in
tell you,
December.
yeah, that what we've been trying to do on top of having these letters, and inside the chat, there's our ECE Voices talking points that you guys could always look at that packet and kind of gather some information that would help build a letter that's informative to your legislator. But having those city leaders come, so not just legislators, but your city leaders, your board of supervisors, all those come to these meetings and hear directly from the ECE field what you guys need. And James and San Bernardino did a great job of doing specific topics. So if you ever wanted to do something like that, you could let me know and I could help you coordinate getting them there in front of you, their staffers, and hearing what you guys have to say.
An additional good way of kind of getting to speak with your board of supervisors is looking at whether there's opportunities to serve on different boards and commissions that are like children or family focused. Like Sacramento County has like a children's coalition where early education comes up quite a bit, and it's an opportunity to get to know like their chiefs of staff and be able to build relationships through that too. And I'm sure that your leads have had similar opportunities, whether it be through those boards and commissions or through like the First Five Association and those different areas.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate this information.
And if you need more, if you have questions, need more information, please reach out and we'll get you connected with our leads and get everything that you need.
Okay, yeah, that would be amazing. I'll
Okay.
definitely reach out to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you guys feel pretty confident in finding their contact information? I showed you how to get to their website so each legislator has their own website. And so that'll get you a lot of information, maybe not as much as you could get if you were to go to like the Assembly website and pull up the roster there. So do you feel pretty good about the information? I'm going to go with yes, since I'm not hearing no. And what I can do in the email follow-up is add the Assembly and the Senate has websites, where you can, look at the roster, and on the roster, it gives you a lot of information, including a link to their website. So I can include that too. And because once you get out into the website for the Senate and the Assembly, then you can kind of find who the chief of staff is and who is on their different committees and their staff members. So you kind of get a little bit more information. Okay, do you have any questions or topics that you would like us to review? Or if you have any suggestions for upcoming trainings, I'd be happy to take those as well. Yes, Benil.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Claudia. I met you, Justina, this Saturday
Oh,
on
hi,
the
Claudia.
leadership conference. I know I got your email. That's why I was able to sign. For me, all this is new,
Okay.
kind of excited but scary at the same time. I know
what you
I
mean.
probably other participants are more, they have more experience. Um, I feel like new, a little bit lost, but I'm
Okay.
eager to learn more and be part of it, be it an advocate for families and teachers and staff. But I would like to, it's just if anything you recommend how to start. I know it was a lot
Yeah.
of information given. I know I love the resources, but still now when it's given, it's like, okay, what do I do next? It's just I need to kind of and see what comes next.
I
And like you
have a
mentioned,
couple suggestions for you. Sorry, go ahead.
I know you mentioned unfortunately I'm not able to go tomorrow, but those are the events that I also I need to, kind of work it and be part of it to feel and get the sense of it. Hopefully there will be a next one that I can attend.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my feeling.
Okay,
So
your feelings are 100% valid, and thank you for saying that and sharing with us. So I always say ECE Voices is two components. It's the educational component, like we teach you Leg 101, Budget 101, advocacy methods, but then the other one is the experience, right? And I can feel that you're wanting a little bit of both. The email that I sent you today welcoming you to ECE Voices has links in there that are going to be very important for you to use. So the training resources link, which you all will receive, will have videos for Legislation 101, and that might be right where you need to start. Like, what is a piece of legislation? How does it go through the process? So I would suggest using that. And then on top of that, I would look for upcoming events that are going to happen in your region or statewide. James is a wonderful lead advocate in the San Bernardino area, and he'll have lots of events that we'll invite you to. And then Banu, you had something to add?
So I just wanted to let you know that we do a Tuesday Talk sport group here. So I was wondering if one of so it's always on the first Tuesday of the month. So maybe in the coming months, if we can schedule something. So if you would like to come and speak to our network people, that would be awesome. And I really appreciate you and Justina. Yeah, and you and Heidi, please. Thank you for all the information. So
Yeah.
good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you for coming, and we would be happy to speak at your event. And we will be looking into doing something similar for our ECE Voices network as well, providing them a space to be able to just network and talk as well. So it's in process. Heidi, do you have anything that you want to add before we let everyone go for the evening?
No, I feel like we presented a good amount of information for you guys to whittle down. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And it's really great to see some experts in the field get involved in this issue. Sounds so much better when it comes from yourselves rather than myself, who has never served in any ECE type role.
So you have your advocates that want to give you the opportunities to use your voice, and that's exactly what ECE Voices is for. Up here on the screen before we go, February 6th, 5 to 6 p.m., just like tonight, we're going to have an advocacy training, but it's going to be on how to in-person trainings work and how to legislative hearings work. And we'll break it down to like, what is it like to walk into the Capitol? What's the security process? What is it like to walk into a hearing room? Because I know the first hearing I went into, I was like, what door do I use? And there's a sergeant at arms in there, and it can be kind of intimidating. So we'll just share all of our experience with you so that you're ready when you go. And of course, you always have a lead advocate or someone at the Every Child California office that would be happy to go with you into those. We'll go over the swing space because that is the space used by legislators right now and where most meetings take place. So we hope you can join us for that. And thank you for being with us tonight. I hope you all have a great evening.